Bangladesh is a country of agriculture and crisscrossed by hundreds of rivers. It is a riverine lowland and sits within 10 feet from the sea level.
Bangladesh is a disaster-prone country. We face multiple hazards, and due to climate change, the intensity and frequency of disaster has been increased a lot. But the brave Bangladeshi people are always fighting with the disaster.
The cyclone Marian in 1991 alone took 140,000 people's lives. The regular cyclones and tidal surges take place almost every year, cause a huge damage to the infrastructures and resources in this country. The coastal area of Bangladesh that is the most vulnerable to the natural disaster is basically poverty-stricken area. That's why it requires the humanitarian assistance from the developed and richer world after a disaster takes place.
It is only 2% of humanitarian aid is going to the local organization. This is a very shameful statistics. If we look at the whole aid architecture, in my sense, this is very exploitative in nature.
Humanitarian assistance to the disaster-affected people is not philanthropic. It is already well recognized that poverty in one side of the world is somehow the result of the development in the other side. It is therefore a compensation. People involved in the humanitarian assistance across the globe have come to the summit called by the UN Secretary General to be held in Istanbul this year.
With the call from Ban Ki-moon, all over the world there was bottom-up discussion and discourse on how humanitarian aid will be reshaped. Final summit will be happen in the Istanbul during 23 and 24th. In most of the regional level discussion and country level discussion, two issues has came up. Number one is localization, importance to the local organization. Number two, accountability. It means accountability should not be unilateral or top down, it has to be mutual.
If we ask ourselves, are we making accountable humanitarian response? The answer will be no. Still, we are taking huge time to reach to the affected people after the disaster hits. And still we can't say strongly that no one is behind in humanitarian response. Why it's happening? According to my opinion, I would say there is no adequate capacities on the ground, and the humanitarian aid system itself is not that much friendly for this faster humanitarian response. And there is no mechanism to listen from the local actors or community peoples in the humanitarian mechanism. So we must think about changing the humanitarian system in Bangladesh. Local actors can play a very vital role here. So capacity building of local actors and direct humanitarian funding to the local actors can bring changes here.
INGO have a resources, but the local level NGOs has a very good contact and mechanism in the grassroots levels. So what happens, sometimes it creates a confusion and overlap. So we want to resolve these issues within this summit. It should be on the right basis approach. It's not a philanthropic or it's not a generosity of anyone to the victim, it's a rights. Any disaster victim people has got a basic human rights to get all support, all rescue, rehabilitation and all kind of support, and that is his basic human rights.
In my opinion, there are three challenges. One is no adequate humanitarian capacities on the ground. Local voices are not being heard by the national decision makers. And humanitarian aid system itself is not friendly for faster humanitarian response. As a result, we can't ensure efficient and accountable humanitarian response. We are missing the opportunities.
The demand is we need to develop the local, national, civil society organization who are the first responder in respect of humanitarianism. So we have to give importance to them with equality and dignity of partnership. If you look how the salary and facilities is being decided in this sector, it is not based on the scientific theory of who is taking risks or who is much more accountable. It is based on who has the power.
Minimum 20% overhead management cost to the partner organization. This is very important. Otherwise, the local NGOs cannot very effectively and properly they cannot deliver their humanitarian service to the outreach and grassroots level.
There must be equality and dignity based partnership. There must be institutional development costs to the local and civil society, humanitarian organization. We need the existence of NGOs, we need the existence of UN, but they must be limited their activities in international level in respect of advocacy, but in national level the importance have to be given to the local NGOs